And now, from Studio 215 in Low Country, South Carolina, you're listening to IFAN Sports Talk Radio. Here's your host, Nikki Fu.
Welcome everybody to the High Wire. This is your host, Nikki Fu. We are back with episode 9, Fantasy Football Preview, where we're previewing the top 10 fantasy tight ends in this year's upcoming fantasy football drafts. Some of you already probably had your fantasy football drafts, and leave me some feedback on our Twitter page at IFAN Talk on who you think is the best tight ends in fantasy football this year. I'm going to go through my top 10, and we will get started here. First of all, I'm going to go with number 10 here, and he's a little hurt right now, banged up in the preseason. He's questionable for week 1 in Arizona, but that is Jordan Reed, tight end, Washington Redskins. I have him projected at 83.4 fantasy football points. He looked like he turned the corner in 2015 when he played 15 games, and then injuries were a problem in 2016 and 17, where he only played 12 games in 2017. So Alex Smith in Washington, he likes to look at the tight ends. You know what he did with Kelsey out in Kansas City. So Jordan Reed, a good fantasy option. I would probably pick him into the mid to late rounds. I'm looking at, when tight ends start going around 6 or 7, Reed looking around a 7 to 8 round pick. So number 10 on the list. Number 9, I'm going to go to Chicago, and we're going to go with Trey Burton. And he should be a breakout candidate with his move to Chicago from Philly last year. I got him projected at 86 fantasy football points. He will be the number 1 tight end option for Trubisky this year in Chicago. Trubisky, he does have an arm, but he doesn't have any really deep receivers to throw that ball to in Chicago. So watch them, use the tight end package quite a bit. Moving along, I'm going to go to number 8, and we're going to go to Greg Olsen, veteran tight end, Carolina Panthers. I got him projected at 89 points. He's at number 8. A broken foot capsized Olsen's 2017 season before he had 5 straight games as a top 10 fantasy tight end. So look for Greg Olsen to bounce back this year. Still, a viable option for Cam Newton. Number 7, Kyle Rudolph. He was higher on my radar last year, and he sort of fizzled out. But Kyle Rudolph from Minnesota, he's got Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball now. I got him projected at 89 points for the season. Number 6, Jimmy Graham. New scenery in Green Bay. He signed with the Packers this offseason. He's looking pretty decent in the preseason right now. Aaron Rodgers already hit him for a touchdown against the Steelers in week 2. So watch out for Jimmy Graham. He was pretty decent last year for Seattle, and now he's got a new one of the best quarterbacks throwing him the ball. I got him projected at 98 points. That's a big jump from number 7. So watch out. I would say Jimmy Graham maybe in the 5th round, maybe an early 6th. So he's going to be, he's going to have a great year this year. Number 5, Delaney Walker. Now, I know a lot of you have Delaney Walker in your top 3, but the jury's still out on Mariota for me. So I got Delaney Walker at 98 points, also a tad more than Jimmy Graham, so he's ranked number 5. Delaney Walker, Tennessee Titans, at number 5. Number 4, Evan Ingram, New York Giants. One of the few bright spots for the Giants in the 2017 season, and he will look to build off his solid rookie campaign. He finished as the number 5 tight end in standard leagues and scored at least 9 fantasy points in 7 of the 15 games he appeared in. So I'm looking for the Giants to have a bounce back year, and with the Saquon Barkley in the backfield, a lot of the defensive eyes are going to be on the backfield in New York, which they've never really had a solid running game. So that could free up a lot of opportunities now for Evan Ingram. So I got him projected at 98.8 fantasy points. Now, number 3, I'm going to pick 2 guys in this because I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. I'm doing 2 guys from the same team, Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert. Now, Dallas Goedert, the number 1 pick for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, and he was projected to go to the Dallas Cowboys in the late rounds. Dallas Cowboys passed on him. He's looking awesome in the preseason right now. I have a funny feeling that they're going to use a 2 tight end package in Philadelphia, and watch out for this kid. He might get a lot more looks than Zach Ertz. So it's either going to be Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is one of my top fantasy sleepers for this year, so look out for him. Number 2, Travis Kelce, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes has been showing off his arm this preseason, and what an arm he has. Kelce is just giving money every year, man. He's just doing great. So he is my number 2. I got him projected at 138.8 points this year. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs really don't look downfield for the bombs. They look at their tight ends a lot. Travis Kelce, number 2. So that leaves us at number 1, and y'all know who it's going to be. Can he stay healthy? We don't know. That is Rob Gronkowski, 148.6 points. Really don't need to say much about him. You all know what he's about. With Brandon Cooks gone now and the wide receiver situation in New England a little in flux right now after they released Kenny Britt. So do they bring in Des Bryant? I heard a rumor today that he's trying to get the Patriots' attention. So number 1, Rob Gronkowski, 9, number 1 pick. Tell me your thoughts on our Twitter page at IFAN Talk, or you can search us on our Facebook page by hitting hashtag IFAN Talk and leave us your comments below. All of our episodes can be found on both those pages, along with our YouTube channel, and we're also on iTunes podcast store along with iHeartRadio. This is your host, Nicky Fu. This is Live and Wire, High Wire show, episode 9. Coming soon, college football. We are going to have the Friday Night Lines where we break down the college football games of the weekend, the top maybe 5 games where we're going to go over the lines and the over-unders. So be on the lookout for those episodes. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is your host, Nicky Fu. I will see all you folks down the
Call it a feeling, call it a premonition. Things are about to go my way. You don't have to see it, just believe it's coming.